Okay, good morning, Sir David. My name is Marcel Mira with student number 12201123301 and I'm here pairing with.
I'm Alisyah of the Ramadina with study number 10011123323, and in this final examination, we choose the second topic, that is
Who should choose the higher education major of a child, parents or children? How big is the impact of the decision in the future life? So without further ado, let's get started. Hi Alicia, I hope you haven't been waiting for too long. I'm sorry.
Hi Marsha. Of course not. I just arrived, so shall we start our discussion now?
Glad to hear that. Yes, we shall. So could you please tell me what is the assignment again?
We are asked to discuss the topic that was given by the lecturer, that is, who should choose the higher education major of a child, parents or children? How big is the impact of the decision on the future life?
Ah, that one. Okay. Let's get into it.
So, as I mentioned before, the topic is, what do we think about choosing a major by parents or children? As we know that choosing a major is not a very easy thing. We will be in a dilemma because there are so many choices, but we are required to only choose one.
Mm.
According to data from Indonesia Career Center in Network, or we call ICCN, in 2017, 87% of students in the country took the wrong major while studying. This data is also strengthened by research conducted by Youth Manual. They revealed that as many as 92% of senior high school students didn't know what they were confused in choosing a university major. With such a situation, it isn't surprising that as student learning activities don't go well.
That makes sense. So perhaps that makes sense to see many people now stranded in life,
Mhm.
especially God's life. Perhaps it is also because they weren't thinking about the long-term effects of their decisions because as we all know that deciding to continue taking a bachelor's degree after graduating from high school will be a long journey.
Mhm.
We have to continue studying for like 4 years and it is not instant. You're saying that they
Yes.
were confused in choosing the major. So do you think it is because they have no one to talk about this, knowing that having someone older to help us decide something like this is very useful?
That's probably right. In my opinion, parents are the right person to discuss this big decision. Let's talk about the financial aspect first. In the world of education, especially in universities, the reason parents force their children to choose university's major is related to their family economic ability. You need to know tuition fees not for each major are different, right? Plus, when the desired place of university turns out to require to live far away from the family, which require costs for boarding and meals, maybe that's not cheap.
In this financial term, I agree with you that parents have a deal in this part. We, as their child, should be considering this. If we are talking about money, it will be kind of sad to think that there is a lot of students who want to choose this major, but they can't do that because their parents could not afford the tuition fees. So they have to bury their dreams and choose a different major that is more affordable. The same goes for the unis. But considering this as the parents' part of choosing their child's major, I think for the part where the child wants to choose the exact major he or she wants, don't you think that the parents should not have a 100% liberty to also detect them in this, like in choosing the major that is suitable with their paths?
All of the necessary because parents are more experienced in education than us. They know which job opportunities are stable for us. Their decision will be better and correct. They also know that you never show your ability, so that instead of choosing the wrong one, it is better to follow your parent wishes. What's more, you can maintain the quality of your family image.
I can say that I agree with you on this one because as we're experiencing now as a college student, the person who will be going to 4 years of college is us, not our parents or the image they are keeping. So sure, they pay our tuition, but don't you think it is because in that their job to provide the money? And in addition to that, there is still a possibility that the parents might be wrong too. The decision might be better and correct, but I think it is only from their point of view. Of course, parents might want us to be successful, to have a nice job and income after we graduate, but the fact a college is a place where we students find what we truly want. What we can't expect 80-year-old human beings to certainly decide what they want to do with their life forever. So it is very natural for students to make mistakes, and it would be better, much better, I think, if the mistake was caused by their own choice so that they can learn from it and survive. They can learn how to survive in the real world. As I said before, parents see everything from their perspective, but we all know the world we live in now is changing and growing. It differs with their time. They will think that being an accountant is a very nice job because it was on their time. But the truth is now the most favorable job in our time is something related to technology. So I don't think parents should 100% dictate us to choose what is the right major for us.
You are right. Don't you think it's very common problem? We had been there once, so I think both of the parties have to strengthen their communication and be more thoughtful and open to decision about this. They also have to be more reasonable, right? They have to have a legitimate reason to support their choice. And as you said, that parents shouldn't dictate this as 100%. Yes, I agree. But we always have to put their situation into consideration. Because, back again, they have more experience than us, so they will know what is better for us, especially when they know how cruel the world is. So sometimes, before we finally decide something, it will be better to let our parents comment on our choice and help us to reflect on our choice, right?
Yes, you're right. We can't ignore them because choosing a major is a very big deal and we need to help to decide it. So better to communicate it very well and not to dictate one another. Making direct decision is kind of unimaginable, but it is not impossible. We also need to put our ability into consideration. We have to tell our parents which field we are able to do and which field we are not able to do. So they won't force us to choose something we can't understand really well, right? Because living under pressure, especially for 4 years, can't be good. Either we end up in a mental facility or somewhere we might don't want to know.
So paying attention to our ability is also important because it could affect our mental health. Okay. So in conclusion, the ones who should choose the college major is the child with the parents as their guide because they have more experience and know better about the world than us. But we also have to remember that this is the child life and the only person that knows better about the child potential is the child himself.
Yes, communication is number one, and remembers to always support your reason with a proper explanation, so the other parties will try with their best to understand our reason. This rule applies to both the child and the parents whenever they want to suggest something regarding choosing a major or perhaps something bigger, because the impact of choosing a major we don't really want or forcefully take will be harmful both to ourselves, our future especially, and the people around us. Plus, going to a therapist is not a cheap thing, right?
Wow. Now we know how to be good parents later in the future, right? What an insightful decision we have. Thank you, Marsha, for pairing with me.
Thank you to you too. It is very nice to discuss almost like slight debating with you. Alicia, now let's write the discussion report, shall we?
Let's go.